In the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. In 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state. With a great slaughter, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people. During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves. From Babylon to Timbuktu, page 84. Alright, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to you Akim out there sincerely doing the work of the hopeful elect. My name is Amawan Gabar, back with another lesson, Lord willing, to edify and to feed the lambs of Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. And through the Spirit, Lord willing, this will be an edifying lesson unto the elect. Alright, so here, I'm just going to touch on, some, the research I did on, as you see here, Kingdom of Judah, or Wahidah, the slave coast. Alright, now I'm going to zoom out. Now, as you see here, this is the continent, the west coast of Africa, alright? Where, as we always say, through the Spirit and through the scriptures and through history and through records, that the bulk of the slaves, that came from the west coast of Africa were and are Israelites, according to the Bible. Alright, they are so-called Negroes, mainly Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, were those that were held captive, on the western parts of Africa. Alright, because during the time of 70 AD, when the Jews fled Roman persecution, alright, we were scattered throughout the, which we will call the diaspora, alright, we were scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, and the bulk of the Jews, alright, which are the Israelites, fled into the interiors of Africa, alright, to the western coast of Africa, and set up kingdoms here, alright, because, contrary to popular belief, alright, when the Jews, us Israelites, fled into Africa, we didn't just come into Africa and that was it. We didn't just come to Africa and just set up shop and then, we were just living there and just living out our days. No, we actually became established in these different western parts of Africa. We became established. We grew. We became kingdoms. All right. We became well known. All right. And we also became hated, by the nations that were around us. All right. Mainly the Hamites. And then you also had the Ishmaelites that were dwelling, in the interiors of of Africa itself. All right, so Lord willing, through this lesson, I'm just going to touch on, the Kingdom of Judah, or Wahidah, all right, the slave coast, okay? What you see here is an ancient map. Well, not an ancient map, excuse me. It's an old map, all right, that was, that was mapped or was printed during the 1800s, all right? And this right here, to be exact, 1747, all right, which dates the actual Kingdom of Judah, all right? And Judah in the Hebrew is Yahweh, all right, which is the Most High's praise, all right? And that's why it says Kingdom of Judah or Wahidah, all right, slave coast. Okay, now let me read a couple of this article that I got here. All right, now this is an article that I pulled up. It's called perfectman.org, Judah in Africa. Now I'm going to read a couple. It says, the Atlantic slave trade or transatlantic slave trade took place across the Atlantic Ocean. From the 16th through the 19th century, the vast majority of slaves transported to the New World, according to written history, were not Africans. From central and western and eastern parts of the continent, in fact, these people have been historically proven to be the descendants of early Hebrews that had migrated from Arabia and Egypt and Israel and Ethiopia into West Africa. These people were attacked and sold by native African tribes and Muslims to Europeans, slave traders, who then transported them to North and South and Central America. To further prove this statement, I have obtained written records from Arab and Muslim writers and also medieval African maps written in the 17th century, which would be the 1600s, by the conquering Europeans. In the map are shown geographical locations of Hebrew cities and kingdoms that were later taken into slavery. It says the first medieval African map was performed by Sir Danville under the patronage of the Duke of Orleans. revised and improved by Mr. Bolton, 1766. And another medieval African map called Negroland and the ancient countries, also Upper Guinea, showing the principal European settlements and distinguishing by Eamon Bowen, 1747. Now the map that I just showed you, brothers, is the map called Negroland. All right, Negroland. So just keep that in mind. That map was called Negroland. And also too, during this time, the downfall of Israel. See, thing you got to keep in mind, the kingdoms are translated, man, as the scriptures say. Matter of fact, let me pull that up since I quoted it, because kingdoms go down, but another kingdom come up. Let me get that real quick. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 10. I'll start at verse 8. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. Alright, so this proves here that kingdoms are translated from one rulership to the next. Now, when you look throughout history, alright, it's a proven fact that when the kingdom go down, the kingdom is taken down by another kingdom. Alright, kingdoms just don't go out of power. Alright, they're always conquered by another kingdom. Alright, so this proves that, what I was about to say, the point I was about to prove, that even during these times, we was falling out of power in Europe. Alright, we didn't just, suddenly just drop out of power and then that was that. Other Edomite nations was conquering us, in Europe, while, some places in Europe we were still established, but over time, eventually we lost power as Israelites, alright? This is it's a continuing on. It says the world's best kept secret. In 1747, the 1747 map below shows the kingdom of Judah, Wahidah, all right, which is how you say it, Wahidah, all right, in West Africa. Shown below, the kingdom of Judah, or Wahidah as it was called, can be clearly seen in the area named Slave Coast, where the Portuguese first set up the slave port in 1580. All right, and this is what you see right here on the map. All right, this is the west coast of Africa. All right, where the bulk of the slaves came from, in this particular coast right here. All right, and around here you have the Gold Coast, the Grain Coast, Ivory Coast, and so on and so forth. All right. It says the 28th chapter of Deuteronomy 15 and 68 details the plight of the people of Yahweh. It's supposed to be Yahweh, after fleeing Jerusalem and 15 centuries later being caught up in the transatlantic slave trade. Now let me read that. This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28. I'll jump up to the beginning of the curse. This is Deuteronomy 20 and 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I commanded thee this day, that all the curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. All right, now this is the whole list of curses, and this is how we know, all right, through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, that we are the true biblical Israelites, because these curses do not fit any other nations on the planet Earth. All right, that's why you had a fool try to say that the Deuteronomy was not a prophetic book, because it is, and I believe it was a so-called, Jake or Uncle Tom. All right, but this fit us. This fit us, and the heathen nations are mad because it fit us. Trust me, they would not want to go through these curses, but the time is coming in the kingdom of heaven where the curses are going to be added unto them. So they should just rejoice and be glad. All right, this is Deuteronomy 20 and 68, the curse. It says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. All right, and Egypt here represents bondage. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. Where did the Lord speak to the children of Israel? All right, over there in the land of Jerusalem. Because again, we was in the west coast of Africa. We was in Africa because we had to flee Jerusalem. All right, fleeing from Roman persecution during around 70 AD. All right, so the Lord said we wasn't gonna see that land no more again. All right, so it wasn't like we was gonna leave Africa and go back to Jerusalem. No, we left the west part of the western coast of Africa and came to an even worse part, which is Egypt again, which is talking about America. All right, it says, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. All right, we're not slaves sold in America. All right, North, Central, and South America for slavery. Absolutely. All right, when we say America, we mainly talking about the Americas too. All right, because the majority of the slaves, weren't even sent to America itself. All right, there was a lot of slaves sent into South America, and you had a large percentage of slaves also distributed throughout Central America and the Caribbeans. All right, so reading on. All right, this is the map. All right, this is the map that we looking at right now. Okay, and this is the map. They were selling. It was online for auction, but this is the map. It says a new and accurate map of Negro land and the adjacent countries, also Upper New Guinea. All right, Upper Guinea. Excuse me, Upper Guinea. All right, and this was printed, all right, in 1747. This map right here, which is the map you brothers see. All right, and here, all right, this map was referred to as Negro land by the publisher. All right, Negro land. Now you got to ask yourself, why would the publisher call, the geographer call this particular region Negro land? Why would they do that? All right, I have the reason why. I'm gonna show you right now. This is the Zondervan's Compact Bible Dictionary. All right. It says Ham. When you look up Ham in the Zondervan Bible Compact Bible Dictionary, you get Ham. You look up Ham, and it says Ham, the youngest son of Noah, probably about 96 years before the flood. Okay, born 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. Okay, not the Negroes. So there's a separation between the Negroes, all right, and the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. Okay, now these, all right, when you look at back on the map, Negro land, all right, when you look at Negro land, all right, this is nowhere close to Egypt, all right, Ethiopia, all right, Libya, Canaanites. Okay. Now you have Negro land here, all right. So now, through the Spirit, we know that the Negroes, there's a great separation going on here. All right, to call this Negro land when all of Africa is supposed to be so-called Negroes, right? No. All right, Africa, all right, you got so-called dark races in Africa, all right, which it was Ham. You got Ham over there, and you got Ishmael over there. All right, they're also black, but there was a separation, separating the Negroes, all right, which are the Israelites. All right, so that's the map. And I'm going to read this right here. What is Negro land? It says Negro land, or Negritia, was an archaic term in European mapping, describing the inland and thinly explored region in West Africa as an area populated with Negro people. All right, why are they singling out Negro people? Why? Because the Negroes are talking about you Negroes that are here in America. All right, we don't call African people in America Negroes. We call them Africans. All right, the so-called white man don't call Africans in America African Negroes. They call them Africans. All right, but you Negroes and niggas, so-called a different race. You're 2 different people. All right. So it says this area comprised at least the western parts of the region called Sudan. All right, not to be confused with modern Sudan, but the modern country, because there's a place up there. Let me see if I can find it on this map. But it's Sudan, but it's spelled Soudan. All right, which was around over here. All right, which it was around over here. Let me see if I could let me see if I have it anywhere saved. Oh, I just type it in. All right, now this is Sudan or Saudan. All right. Let me see if it shows the region in which it's actually talking about. All right, well, I'm not seeing anything. I had the map. I had the actual map earlier. I must have closed the tab. But anyways, it says, all right, not to be confused with the modern country. Okay, it says the term is probably a direct translation of the Arabic term Bilad al-Sudan, meaning land of the blacks. All right, aka Negro land. All right, and this was an Arabic term, Negro land, showing you that the Arabs knew who the so-called Negroes were. They knew who we were and where we were. All right. It says corresponding to about the same area. There were various kinds of people in the area, including Jews of Bilad el Sudan, the Negro land. All right. Some of the greatest states of whose considered parts of the Negro land were Bornu Empire and the Sokoto Caliphate. All right. Now, when you look at the Bornu Empire, all right, that surrounds the area, you know, from Nigeria going up. All right, so it says Negro land represented the area between the region of Guinea and the Sahara Desert. Guinea, not to be confused with the modern country, then referred to the south-facing coast of West Africa. The land stretching upriver from there, Herman Maull's 1727 maps label these grain coasts, which show you that, you know, every now and then Esau, when he comes and he do his maps, he changed different names. All right, he changed the names around and he called it different things. All right, so it says label these grain coast, slave coast, and gold coast, Negro land. All right, which is what you see here. You have the different coasts. You got the Tooth Coast, Gold Coast, Slave Coast, and this is right on Upper Guinea at this particular time when this map was made. All right, in Negro land, because this whole region is considered Negro land. All right. So reading on. All right, it says Negro land was a territory to the north of this, along with the east-west axis of Niger River, and the west facing the Moles map of Gambia, Senegal, Mandinga, and many other territories. All right. So as you see here, this is a map of the African so-called African slave trade. All right, which was Israelites. Okay. Now, if you take a look at where, you know, the slave trade took place, this is exactly, you know, a splitting image of the map that I showed you, brothers, here. All right, Negro land. Okay. So this is where the Israelites were, and this is what they called Negro land in that 1747 map. Negro land. Okay. And over here is where you have the major slave port, which was Fort Judah. All right, or Fort Wahidah, or Wahidah, as it was called. All right. As you see here, Kingdom of Judah, or Wahidah, slave coast. All right. So the Jews, we were in Africa. All right. This had nothing to do with the Hamites. Now let me get a scripture. This is Joel chapter 3 verse 1. It says, "For behold, in those days and in that time, then I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land." All right, now the Lord is going to bring all these nations. The Lord, all right, the one who the world ignorantly called God and Jesus Christ, is going to turn away the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, which were the ones that went into slavery. All right, over here in the Americas, the transatlantic slave trade. So the Lord is going to bring them to gather all nations in the valley of Jehoshaphat, which means Yahweh Shaphat is the Most High's judgment. All right, the Most High's judgment. He's going to plead with them. All right, and this is going to take place over there in the Middle East. All right, starting over there in the Middle East. All right, it's going to be, which is all going to lead up to World War III. All right, now read on to say, "Whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land." How did they scatter us? By sending us from one end of the continent to the next. You know, from one coast to the next coast. You know, it says, "And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they may drink." All right, now, one of the big trades, I think I closed that map too by accident. But one of the big trades were along with so-called, Negro slaves, which were Israelites, all right, were wine, gold, musket guns, money, so on and so forth, all right? Now, that's why it's called the transatlantic slave trade, because we traded from the west coast of Africa to the Americas, up to Europe, and on down, okay? And it says here, and they have cast lots for my people. That's going back to the auctioning blocks, all right? They cast lots for the people of the Lord. After we came over here to the Americas, all right, our oppressors, the so-called white man, okay, Esau, according to the Bible, cast lots for us. Okay, they bid it on us, and they bought us and sold us. It says, and had given a boy for a harlot, and a girl, and sold a girl for wine, that they may drink. Yet, and what have we to do, what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense, as if ye recompense me? Swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense unto your own head. I was just talking about you Arabs, man, because you helped sell the children of Israel into slavery, all right, to the so-called white man. All right, you built the ships, all right, to cargo the Israelites on these ships, to have us sail across the Atlantic, all right, for months, in a large percentage of the population, dying out. All right, so you Arabs got a lot to pay for that, man. This is verse 5. It says, because ye have taken my silver and gold, and have carried it into your temples, my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Israel ye have sold unto the Grecians, that ye may remove them far from their borders. And that's what happened. We were removed far from our borders. We were sold to the Grecians, which is talking about you Edomites. All right, you Edomites, man. All right, so we were removed far from our borders. Okay, as you see here in this map, Salakia. As you see in this map right here, we were removed far from our borders, far. All right, far from our borders, up in North America, the Caribbean, Central America, all right, South America, down in South America, all right, up over here in Europe, across Africa. And who was doing this? You Arabs, man. All right, you Arabs. You sold us. You took us from, after our affliction was up, or you also helped forward our affliction, in other words, man. All right, because the trade and the commerce that was going up this way was you Arabs selling us into slavery. All right, you Arabs are big on selling people into slavery, man. Just like Joseph, our brother. When you go back into the history, Joseph was sold, he was sold to Hamites by Arabs, all right, by Ishmaelites, man. All right. So back in Joel, it says verse 7, it says, behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. All right, so we're gonna be raised up out of the place where we were sold. All right, over here in America and different parts of the Central, North, and South America, different parts of the world where we were sold. Because how are we gonna get raised up out of there when the Lord brings His deliverance? When He brings His destruction, and at the same time He delivers the children of Israel from out of our bondage. All right, the elect, started with the elect, the 1/3 of Israel. This is verse 8. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people afar off, for the Lord hath spoken it. Now the Lord is going to sell your sons, because these nations, all right, starting with Esau, you going into slavery. All right, for what you've done unto Israel, the Most High is going to allow us to sell your sons, all right, and your daughters into slavery. All right, when it says to sell them to the Sabians, all right, to people far off, that means we're going to set up taskmasters in the kingdoms, all right, in the kingdom of heaven. Verse 9, proclaim me this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near. All right, let them come up. All right, now that's the point I wanted to get. All right, now the Gentiles is preparing for war. That's why you got World War III, because, World War III is going to be the war to end all wars, is going to be the Most High's revenge upon these nations, as we read here. All right, the Lord is going to gather all the nations and plead with them for Israel's sake. All right, and that's going to happen in these days and time. All right. Again, a map before Judah. Now, also I was reading, let me go back in this. I was reading something. Slack, bear with me one moment. All right, now we could take a look at this too. All right, what does Wahidah mean? All right, Wahidah is a Hebrew word. All right, now when you type it in, all right, in the dictionary, the dictionary automatically give you, translated words. All right, and what pops up is the Hebrew. So there is no Wahidah in the Hebrew. What it means is Yahweh. All right, now also what I found was looking into the word Wahidah. All right, I found this Wahidah galley. It says the Wahidah galley, commonly known simply as Wahidah, was a fully rigged galley ship that was originally built as a passenger, cargo, and slave ship. All right, we talking about the same Wahidah. All right, and this is around the same time, the transatlantic slave trade was still going on. So it says on the return leg of its maiden voyage of the triangle trade, it began a new role in Golden Age piracy when it was captured by the pirate Captain Samuel Black Sam Bellamy. All right, Captain Samuel Black Sam Bellamy. All right, which that name alone kind of tells me that this had to have been a Jake, Black Sam. All right, and a lot of pirates were Israelites, man. All right, who overthrew ships. All right, who? Because remember, like I said earlier, Israelites were still ruling in certain parts of Europe during our downfall, man. All right, this was a thing that happened over time. All right, so we used to raid these other ships, take their gold, take their possessions, and just pirate their ships, conquer their ships. Like Blackbeard, for instance. Not to go off subject, but Blackbeard very well could have been a Jake. When I read about him, Blackbeard had Captain Blackbeard had all types of traits of an Israelite. All right, so it says, and was refitted as his flagship. Bellamy sailed the Wahidah, all right, up the coast of colonial America, capturing ships as he went. On 26th of April 1717, the Wahidah was caught in a violent storm and wrecked. Only 2 Wahidah crew members survived, along with 7 others who were on a slope captured by Bellamy earlier that day. 6 of the 9 survivors were hanged. 2 had been forced into piracy, were freed, and 1 Indian crewman was sold into slavery. All right, now that wasn't an Edomite that was sold into slavery, all right? And who you think sold this, so-called Indian into slavery? The so-called white man, all right? Because pirates were a thorn in these Edomite sides, back in these days, man. All right, and they were Israelites, all right? But, I ain't gonna go too far off topic, Lord, that's a whole nother topic. I got a scripture. This is Lamentation. All right, I'm gonna start at 3. It says, Judah is going into captivity because of affliction, and because of great servitude she dwelleth among the heathen. She findeth no rest. All her persecutors overtook her between the straits. All right, Judah again. All right, Judah represents you so-called Negroes. All right, here in America. All right, we're going into captivity. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and all the tribes, man. All right, we went into captivity. All right, because of great servitude and dwell among the heathen. All right, we found no rest, man. All right, all her persecutions overtook her between the straits. These nations, they help further our affliction. Esau helped further our affliction. All right, so I'm gonna end it on that. This is just a little touch up on the kingdom of Judah, or Wahidah, the slave coast in Africa. All right, Judah, the tribe of Judah. Again, like I mentioned earlier in this lesson, that we weren't just in these lands just doing nothing. All right, we set up establishment, we set up kingdoms. All right, we were doing good. All right, we were doing okay. But we had to fall down. We had to go into captivity. All right, and the main reason why we went to captivity because of our disobedience unto the Most High. All right, so anyway, I'm gonna end it on that. And Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson to you, Akim. Shalom.